Welcome back, horror fans. Thank you once again for joining me and my channel, eNerdtainment. Today we're going to be doing something that, as far as I can tell, nobody's ever tried before. I'm going to be ranking every single Michael Myers kill. Yes, all the way back from 1978 until the newest Halloween Ends. Every movie that has Michael Myers in it where he's doing his thing, I found the kills and we're ranking them. Now, if you look for the actual number of how many kills he has, you're going to find a couple different answers. But what you can see is it's well over 150, probably closer to 160, 170, and that's incredible. I found 130. Now I do have some of them, some of the victims linked together if they happened, close together or very similar in the way they died. I have them linked together. And I also didn't count any animals or none of that. We know that Michael Myers likes to kill dogs and eat them. Didn't feel like going through all that. So these are just human characters that Michael Myers has killed. I've got 130 of them. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the kills. Now we're going to start this list off with a couple of kills that I just don't like, that actually upset me. And I know that that's kind of the point of the Halloween movie. You're supposed to like the characters. But these guys, they did not deserve what happened to them. 130, at number 130, the worst kill in the franchise to me is the off-screen death of Dr. Loomis in Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I understand why they did this, I guess. I mean, Dr. Loomis, the actor Donald Pleasance, unfortunately passed away in real life, so they kind of shoehorned this extra ending where they used the ending from one of the cuts that they didn't actually release in theaters, the director's cut, and they used that cry or that scream that Dr. Loomis has, and they kind of made it look like Michael Myers killed him. And I don't like it. I don't like the ending. I actually prefer the ending, the silly ending, to the director's cut or producer's cut, whatever you want to call it. But we're talking about the theatrical cut here. I don't like that they killed Dr. Loomis off. I wish they would have found another way to do this. It doesn't work for me. It's the worst kill in the franchise to me. Number 130, Dr. Loomis. And similar to that, at number 129, we have Laurie Strode in Halloween Resurrection. I mean, what the fuck were we thinking? You're going to kill the main character of the franchise in such a, I don't know. They did not earn this. If you're going to kill off Laurie Strode, fine, but you have to do it better than this. You cannot do it at the beginning of a movie. You cannot tease her involvement in this movie only to kill her off in the first 10 minutes. And in such a lame ass bullshit way. I mean, falling off the roof because she thinks that this is yet another imposter. I mean, I can kind of maybe understand the switcheroo at the end of H2O. It's still kind of weird, but I can at least get by. Maybe this guy was just trying to get her attention. I don't know why he all of a sudden developed all the mannerisms and actions of Michael Myers, but that doesn't matter. It's a paramedic. She kills a paramedic. You got to give us this movie. And then if you want to kill her off at the end of it, find a good way to do it. I'm probably still going to be a little upset, but at least I could take it. This is embarrassing. This kill always upsets me. It was almost the worst, but I just felt bad that Dr. Loomis got killed off post-mortem after he died in real life. So, but this is easily the second worst kill in the franchise. 129 is Laurie Strode. And then we're going to finish off this trifecta of bullshit kills with number 128, Rachel Carruthers in Halloween 5. Rachel was arguably more popular than Laurie. I mean, this was somebody that we could get behind. She saved Jamie. She was a fan favorite in Halloween 4, a lot of people's favorite sequel. And then you just bring her back. Does this sound familiar? To kill her off at the beginning of the next movie. What the hell were they thinking? And then again, I don't think that Tina is that bad of a character, but the fact that you take Rachel from us and then drop her in our laps, and she is a little obnoxious at times, but I think she's also really sweet and charming at times too. So I think a lot of the hate that gets directed at Tina is just people pissed off that Rachel got killed in such a bullshit way. So those are easily my least favorite kills of the franchise. Dr. Loomis, Laurie Strode, and Rachel Carruthers at number 30, 129, and 128. Those are easy calls for me, kills that I just don't like to watch ever. All right, now we're going to do a couple rapid fire off-screen deaths. At number 127, we have Dr. Hart and Nurse Patsy from Halloween 5. This happens off screen. We don't even see anything. We just see their bodies being wheeled out. You assume that Michael broke in looking for Jamie and found a couple of unsuspecting victims. At number 126, we have the random mechanic from Halloween 78. This is where Michael got his jumpsuit. And again, we don't see any of this happen. We just see the truck and then we see the body slightly off screen. Dr. Loomis doesn't even find the body. It's okay kill, but nothing happens. We don't see anything. So number 125 is Nurse Virginia from Halloween 2, the 81 version. Again, she's just discovered she's already been killed. She's been bled out by Michael, and this leads to one of the funnier scenes in the movie. So it could have been done better. Number 124 is the ambulance attendant Evans and the two unnamed ambulance drivers from Halloween 4. And we get to see the best kill of this sequence happen, and then we assume that the rest of them just died with the ambulance, wrecking. So I don't even know that Michael had anything to do with this. Maybe he, mangled the bodies a little bit. They did say that they were pretty beat up. So who knows? Michael might have had some fun with these guys before they died, but we're going to assume that they were probably just axed from the accident. Number 123 is the waitress at the diner where Loomis kind of confronts Michael in Halloween 4. She's killed off screen. We don't see it, and Loomis discovers her body, and there's really no evidence to how she died. I don't see a whole lot of blood here, so don't really know what happened. Number 122 is the sanitarium patient in Curse, the one that kind of warns them that Michael is back and he's very angry. She gets stabbed in the stomach. You don't see it happen. You just see her kind of fall over and die. She says the cryptic line to Tommy, and that's it. So it's okay. Number 121 is Tony from the beginning of Halloween H2O. This is Jimmy's silly friend, the one that doesn't get the badass off-screen death. Nurse Marion discovers his body in the doorway, and he falls on her and kind of slows her down a little bit. Then Michael gets the kind of cool entrance. So a little bit of a point for that, but other than that, Tony's death, pretty forgettable. You probably don't even know who the hell Tony is. At number 120, we have Nora from Halloween Resurrection, Tyra Banks' character. Again, she's killed off screen, and we just find her body hanging in the garage at the end of the movie. So it's kind of funny that Busta Rhymes, Freddy, is the one who told Michael to go be with her.
You need to take your ass in the back of the garage with Nora. That's your job. Go back there with Nora and help her ass out. Go do your job.
Essentially sentencing her to her doom. But I would have really liked to have seen it. It would have been a better placement for sure. At number 119, we have Deputy Logan from Halloween 4. This is the guy that gets killed, and then Tits McGee finds his dead body before she gets impaled by the shotgun. So we don't get to see what happens to Deputy Logan. At one point, he's sitting in front of the door, and then the next minute, he's strategically placed over in a corner so that when, I think it's Kelly, lights a match, there's his body. It's pretty cool reveal, but other than that, we don't really see the kill. Number 118 is Deputy Neil in Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. We'll call that H2. So this is an H2. This is the guy that was stationed outside of Annie Brackett's house, and it's a pretty cool, again, reveal of Michael Myers stepping out from behind the tree, and then he just chokes him with a pipe or something, and you get a neck snap off screen. You do find his body later on. Rob Zombie's not going to miss a chance to show you, the gory aftermath, but we don't get to see the kill happen live, so it's not going to be anything more than just a decent off-screen kill for me. At number 117, we have the two police transit officers from Halloween 2018 that are transporting Michael, that are killed when he breaks out after Sartain causes the bus accident. We briefly see one of them alive as he talks to the young boy, but they're definitely dead. Both of them are dead, and we do absolutely see two separate bodies, so I know that there are two officers here that did get killed. All right, number 116 is going to be the helpful firefighter from Halloween Kills, the beginning sequence. This is the firefighter that attempts to help the firefighter that fell through the floor and is being ravaged by Michael Myers. He doesn't know that, so he extends his arm. He's trying to help. We don't really see what happens. It's an off-screen kill. We don't even see a body. We presume it burns up in the house. But I will give this a couple bonus points because I do love the reflection of Myers in his goggles right before he grabs him. Pretty cool little moment there, but other than that, it's not much. Number 115 is also from Halloween Kills. It's Little John. Now, I actually really liked Little John and Big John. Big John, as you'll see, has a much better kill, far higher on this list. Little John, I guess, just dies of a broken heart, dies that he's frozen in fear. He just stands there, pays Michael a little bit of reverence after he finds Big John's dead body, and just stands there and sort of accepts his fate. So, I mean, but we don't even see it. We don't see what happens to him. He just screams, and that's it. So I kind of wish we would have saw what happened to him, although I really like the actor. I think it would have added a little bit more to the moment if we saw the tragic downfall of both of the Johns. Number 114 is going to be the Hermit at the beginning of Halloween 5. Now, after we watch Michael survive everything that happened to him at part 4 and sort of back float down a little creek or little river. He gets helped by a hermit, and that's not the bad part. The bad part is he awakens and he kills the hermit, and he somehow has a psychic connection now to Jamie that they don't explain. So, I mean, it's just kind of a weird sequence. It's cutting back and forth between Jamie and Michael. Would have rather just watched Michael, kill the hermit without having all these weird jump cuts. But anyway, it could have been a lot better, but it's nothing more than just a semi violent, semi forgettable opening kill. And number 113 is deputies Nick and Tom. These are the clown deputies that made the noise when they were walking out of Rachel's house. Everybody loathes these guys. And we really wish they would have gotten a better death. They get killed off screen by the pitchfork used to kill Spitz. We see a couple of puncture marks in the one guy's neck. So, but other than that, we get nothing but a little bit of blood. And, Tina finds their bodies in a cop car. It's not a satisfying death for a couple of characters that I'm sure most of us wanted to see get it pretty violently. At number 112, we have Dr. Mixter from Halloween 2, 1981. Again, it's a pretty decent reveal. I love the reveal of the needle in the eye. And this is, of course, a pretty gnarly build up and then a really great execution for the other kill that's going to happen later on this list. But Dr. Mixter is just a fairly above average off-screen kill, so that's where it falls right here. At number 111, we have Deputy Pierce and the other deputies at the police station Halloween 4, who are all killed extremely violently off-screen. But that last part's the key. It's off-screen. Again, this would have been a scene akin to the firefighter massacre in Halloween Kills. It would have been super brutal, super awesome, and we don't get to see it. This is probably the best scene in the movie, and it happens off-screen. Number 110 is Charlie from Halloween H2O. And Charlie's one of the main characters, and he's really the first to kind of encounter Michael before he starts his rampage. He's trying to get a corkscrew out of a garbage disposal. There's a lot of tension there. Michael pops out from behind him, scares him. But then we get the look of the CGI mask. The terrible mask that they decided to use in this scene is just embarrassing. It's embarrassing that this made it into the final cut. It absolutely cuts any of the tension that's going on in this scene. And then they cut away and we don't even see what happens. I can't put you any higher than this. Number 109 is Franklin from the beginning of Halloween Resurrection. As far as off-screen kills go, this one's pretty decent. And it's a little unique because we don't all the time see Michael just decapitate people. So to find a decapitated head in a laundry machine, pretty cool reveal. Then he backs up and almost trips over the dead body before Michael lowers himself down and finishes that guy off. So I think this is a pretty decent off-screen kill. Number 108 is former Sheriff Brackett from Halloween Kills. And again, if you're going to kill off an OG character, at least they did it with a little bit of taste. This wasn't like an overly brutal death. They gave him a quick throat slit and then he was down. I didn't mind this at all. I didn't like the crazy effects they did in this whole scene. I think it would have just been better if it was a little bit more straightforward, shot a little bit more traditionally, but we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, I'm okay with the way they took out former Sheriff Brackett, but it really was just nothing more than a quick throat slit. So I can't put it super high on the list, but I also didn't want to put it at the very bottom. It's a pretty decent kill. Next, we have a couple of really brutal off-screen deaths from Rob Zombie. At number 107, we have the Smith Scrode guards that are killed off-screen and their bodies are seen. It's a pretty brutal scene that Michael left here. So we see just what kind of character we're dealing with. This is not your normal just kind of stalk and throat slit. This guy beats and ravages these bodies and just is super violent, way more violent than we're accustomed to. And then 106 is the random nurse with her eyes gouged out in Halloween 2, H2. So again, two really awesome off-screen deaths executed by Mr. Zombie that really ram home just how vicious and different this Myers is than what we've seen or what we've grown accustomed to in the previous Halloween movies. Number 105 is Lonnie Elam from Halloween Kills. This is kind of sad because he's discovered by his son, but we don't see it happen. He just stupidly goes into the Myers house alone. We hear a gunshot. We know that that's it. We know what they're walking in. We know that they're about to find his dead body, but it is kind of impressive that Michael is somehow able to get him rammed up in there so fast. So I don't really know how the logistics, where's the ladder? Did he just kind of hook him up there? I don't know. I don't understand, but it is a pretty solid reveal. Number 104 is Kevin's dad, little Kevin in Halloween 2018. This is the father and son that discover the broken down bus We don't see Kevin's dad die, but we do see his body afterwards. And whew, this one actually got a little bit of a reaction out of me the first time I saw it. I mean, it looked like, I guess those were supposed to be vertebrae sticking out of his broken neck, but oh, it was really hard to see, really tough to see. And it made you just feel even more sad for both of those individuals and their rotten luck. Number 103 is the trick-or-treater kid Dennis from Halloween Kills. This is, Michael steps on screen with the bloody head, and this is, he's kind of teasing the remaining kids and teasing our OG characters. We don't see this happen, but again, I told you, Michael doesn't all the time chop people's heads off, so anytime you get a decapitation, A-okay in my book. And again, if you're killing kids, you're making a statement that you're not fucking around anymore. Number 102 is going to be Alice from the beginning of Halloween 2, the original 1981. And this is the sneak attack kill. This one actually always makes me laugh a little bit because I picture Michael just off screen, crouched down, waiting for her to walk on screen. And then he jumps up and stabs her, I guess, in the stomach, the neck, the chest. I don't know. We don't really see what happens. It happens fast. There's a splot of blood, and that's pretty much it. It's an okay kill, decent build up. But that's really it. At number 101, we have Nurse Gloria from Rob Zombie's Halloween, and she's found with her throat ripped out, bleeding out, just off screen. We don't get to see it, but Rob Zombie wants to highlight the brutality of his Myers. This is a great way to do it. At number 100, we have the random mechanic from Halloween 4 who's stabbed in the stomach with the pry bar, and his outfit is stolen. This is what Michael does. He kills mechanics and he steals their jumper. So this is a pretty decent one. This is better than the first one where we just see the body off screen. At least here we get to see the dirty work being done. At number 99, we have Marshall Gummel from Halloween 2. This is the guy that goes to check on Michael after he's been shot a couple times by Loomis. Loomis warns him to get away. He says, "I stopped breathing," and then he gets his throat slit. So it's a memorable sequence, but again, it's all it is. It's just a quick throat slit from a dumbass Marshall who doesn't listen to the guy who's been taking care of this sick individual for 15 years or so. Number 98 is going to be Tina from Halloween 5. A lot of people were happy to see this character get killed. I'm happy that she at least went down as a hero. She sacrificed herself to save Jamie, but other than that, it was just a pretty quick stab and she's done. She's out of there, and then we're still chasing the kids. I would have liked to have seen her be involved more in the chase scenes. I mean, her and Jamie spend most of the movie apart, so she doesn't really step into that guardian figure the way that Rachel did. So definitely a downgrade there. But it's an okay kill. I don't hate it. Number 97 is the three random guys, the mob that are trying to hunt down Michael Myers in Halloween 4 that are in the back of the pickup truck when Myers pulls himself. Again, the only way he's under that truck is if he somehow sneaks out of the school and gets under the truck without any of them knowing. But somehow he's under the bottom of that truck. He climbs out and he kills these three guys in pretty much the same way. Either a stab, a slash, or the one dude gets just hucked out of the truck. And you don't see him again, so you presume he died from that. We don't know. It's not 100%, but I'm counting him as dead. So these three fools who let Michael just sneak up on them in the back of their truck and none of them know what's going on, they're going to be 97. Number 96 is going to be Ronnie in Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, this guy was a shithead from the moment we saw him on screen. We're just waiting for this to happen. And he gets duct taped to a chair and gets his throat slit. It's actually a pretty solid kill from a young child, a child Myers. So this is his first time kind of, he's already killed somebody, but now he's fully unleashed. He's realizing, hey, I kind of like this. And he takes out Ronnie. Number 95 is Corey Cunningham in Halloween Ends. Now, this is our step-in Myers for this movie. He does a lot of the really awesome kills himself, so unfortunately, you're not going to see some of the best kills from the movie because it's not Myers. But one person that Myers does kill is Corey himself after he's been shot, and then he stabs himself in the neck. He's still lying there alive, and Michael gets the final kill shot with a neck snap. So, bye-bye, Corey. You did not work for me in this movie, so it was not that bad of a deal to see you kind of just, you get almost triple tapped, dude. Number 94 is going to be Annie Brackett in H2. And this scene is kind of interesting because you don't actually see it happen. You hear a little bit of it off screen, but she turns around, she sees Myers in the shower. He chases after her in slow motion. He catches her, you hear the grunting, you hear the screaming, and then Lori and Maya discover her body after it's pretty much done. I mean, if she's not dead, she's pretty damn close to dead at that point. But what elevates this is actually her father, Sheriff Brackett, played by Brad Dourif. If you don't know the voice of Chucky, really shows his acting skills. In this scene, if you're a father, man, it's tough not to break down a little bit. The way he mourns for his daughter elevates this kill a little bit for me because it actually gives me an emotional reaction.
Oh, no, Andy. Hey, God, no. God, please. Oh, God. No! No!
At number 93, we have another poor mechanic getting beaten to death for his jumper. But this one happens just off screen. I do like that we see Dana talking to one of the attendants, and you see this happening in the background. So we don't actually see it happen in its, intensity right in front of us, but we do see it happening, and it is kind of a cool little shot, a cool little, oh, did you see that? Yeah, I did. So I do actually really like this kill. And then you see his dead body a little bit later. Number 92, we have Willie from Halloween Resurrection. This is the other guard that meets their fate at the very beginning of the movie. This guy discovers his friend's dead body on the floor after seeing the decapitated head in the washer, I believe it is. And he backs up, and then Michael drops down and gives him a classic throat slit. It's an okay death. I think it actually looks really good. It actually scared me a little bit as a kid because, I was young and these types of things still disturbed me at the time. But it was a good kill. It happens quick, and it gets us to the movie proper without too much, false scares, jump scares, and all that stuff. It just kind of happens and it's over with. And number 91 is the poor random driver in Halloween H2, Rob Zombie's H2, that tries to help Laurie when she's running from Myers. This poor guy gets absolutely launched through the windshield, which that alone probably killed him. And then Myers gets to show his freakish strength in a great shot. I love the shot where it's kind of cameras pulled back a little bit. You see Michael's silhouette, the car silhouette, and he's just lifting this thing up with his raw power. It's an incredible scene, in my opinion. Again, the death, it happens fast, but it's different. I like seeing Myers kill people in different ways. This one was at least memorable for me in a movie where I kind of lost track of all the kills. There was a lot of kills. This one stood out to me. I actually really enjoyed this one. At number 90, we have Judith Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween '07. I think that this scene, even though it's drawn out and it gives us a little bit more than the original, it pales in comparison to the original Judith Myers kill. This one is more violent, but I don't really like the young Myers wearing the big overlarged mask. I think when he steps out, if that's supposed to be creepy, it's actually more laughable than creepy. So this scene, it's okay, it's decent. Definitely still makes you feel bad, but it's nowhere near as iconic as the original. Number 89 is Samantha from Halloween 5. Now, after she gets interrupted in her doing the deed with Myers killing her boyfriend, there is a short little chase. She actually gets the opportunity to try to fight back a little bit. And while I really enjoy the murder weapon in this scene, the fact that he just swings it and then it cuts away and we see a little bit of blood and that's it. We don't see anything of this kill. So I can't put it any higher. There was a lot of potential, but they just didn't finish. They just didn't finish it. Number 88 is going to be the wolf guy from Rob Zombie's H2. Now, unfortunately, he is about to get lucky, and he doesn't even get interrupted while he's in the process like a lot of the guys do. He has to go take a piss, and he gets stabbed in the back very violently. And, he doesn't even get a chance to go back and be with, I believe it's Harley. So, yeah, poor guy, poor Wolfie. Brutal death, quick, vicious. I dig it. Number 87 is Deborah Strode in Curse of Michael Myers Halloween 6. And she was a really sweet lady, seemed like a really nice mom, tried to be anyway. But her death, it's kind of cool, but also kind of lame at the same time because there is a little bit of a chase scene, but how do you get lost in your own backyard? I guess maybe the panic of it all paired with these random ass sheets that are just out there drying, but she gets all turned away, somehow doesn't know that there's a giant fence in her backyard. So it always kind of made me laugh, but Michael does have a pretty badass, if it's going to happen off screen, I do like the axe slash and then the guts and everything going all over the white sheets. I do think that was a pretty cool visual. So I do wish we could have seen this happen, but this was before we had that kind of brutality constantly on screen. So they had to be a little bit reserved. And this is one of the ones where they pull back a little bit. It's all right. Number 86 is Nurse Wynn from Rob Zombie's Halloween. She's the nurse that gets stabbed in the neck with the fork by young Myers before the mom kills herself. This is kind of the last straw for her. This is where she really sees the evil that's in her son. So it's an effective kill. I don't like the buzzer sounding the entire time as it's going on. That got kind of annoying. But overall, I think Zombie achieved what he was going for here, and I think the kill works reasonably well. Number 85 is Tommy Doyle from Halloween Kills. Again, this happens in that weird sequence where I don't know why stylistically they chose to shoot it like this with the extreme close-ups and whatnot, but Tommy's death does at least work really well because I think we were all rooting for him to get his revenge after being scarred from this, this maniac when he was a boy. So we didn't want to see Tommy die. So it is kind of sad to see him get stabbed and then beaten to death by old Huckleberry. So it's a decent kill. I wish they would have shot it differently, a little more traditionally, but it still gets the point across. It still works. Number 84 is Ray from Halloween 2018. Justice for Ray, because until the second movie, the next movie, they didn't really react to this death. I mean, Ray's out there getting strangled, and everybody's just like, oh, Michael's here. So I felt bad for Ray, and he didn't even get a great death. He just gets strangled to death by some sort of chain. I don't know. Now, he even discovers a more badass death than he gets. So it's unfortunate. Justice for Ray. But I am going to put you here, Ray. 84, not bad, man. Number 83 is the other Dr. Loomis death. This is Dr. Loomis's death in H2. It is much more brutal. It happens in front of us, and we're all here for it because we hate this freaking guy. He is the opposite. And a credit to Malcolm McDowell, his ability to make us loathe this man. I guess that's what they were going for, and it works. And I also don't like that Michael talks. You know, he says die, and that's just not what I'm looking for. But it's an okay kill. It's pretty brutal, and I am going to say he does die. He absolutely dies. He gets messed up. I mean, there's part of his skull showing at one point. So, yeah, he's dead. Number 82 is Jenna from Halloween Resurrection. Now, this is going to be the first actual decapitation that we get to see on screen. And she was a fairly annoying character, so it was kind of satisfying to see it happen. She screams and then shoop. And it's kind of funny to watch her head bounce down the stairs, and everybody kind of thinks it's part of the gag at this point. But no, Michael's actually here, and he's coming for you, motherfuckers. Number 81 was Nurse Marion in Halloween Kills. Now, this is the first time we're going to see her die, and because she had died previously, I actually thought she was going to be safe. So this movie caught me off guard. This kill caught me off guard, and it kind of had a funny little moment where she tried to shoot Michael and the gun jammed, but she didn't have any bullets in it. Either way, she gets a couple quick stabs to the stomach, and that's it for Nurse Marion. Bye-bye, OG. Numbers 80 and 79 are going to be two of the police officers that come to help Laurie at the end of Halloween 2007. It's Officer Lowry and Officer Charles. Officer Lowry is attacked first, semi off screen. I mean, he's in camera, but he's on the other side of a door, so you don't see it too bad. But I do like that he gets shoved up against the door, stabbed in the back. He spits blood all over the door. That's pretty awesome. And then we actually see Officer Charles get some shots off on Myers, but he gets run down and stabbed viciously a few times. So I gave him the nod. I gave him one spot over Lowry because he gets multiple stabs. It seems a little bit more vicious. So I'm going to give both of those guys their own spots. Number 78 is going to be Tim Strode from Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. His death is pretty quick, but I do love the ambiance. I love that it's kind of pitch black and we get a back reveal. You know, Myers steps out from the shadows and gives him a nice quick throat slit. Pretty solid kill. I like it. Number 77 is going to be Harley from H2. Now, we touched on this briefly with the Wolfie kill. He gets stabbed in the back as he goes to take a piss. And poor Harley's left in the back of the van all alone. So Michael likes to fix that. He doesn't want any girl to be all alone on Halloween. So he breaks in and beats her a little bit and then ends up strangling her to death. It's a pretty solid kill. It's quick. It's vicious. It's this Myers MO to a T, and I really enjoy this kill, actually. And speaking of getting interrupted before you can do the deed, number 76 is Paul from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Paul was attempting to get down with Annie when he's rudely interrupted, yanked off of her, and stabbed in the gut. It's a brutal death, brutal timing. Myers, you fucking cockblock. Number 75 is Maya from H2. Now, after discovering Annie, we just talked about Annie, her dead body, she doesn't die in part 1, she does die in part 2. Laurie and Maya discover her body. Laurie sends Maya to go get some help, and she's yanked back inside real quick while she's trying to give the 911 operator the address, and then she's savagely stabbed in the chest a couple times by Myers. And they actually show it for the most part. I mean, you get to see some of the shots. So it's a really great scene. It's a really great moment, and it's number 75. Number 74 is Sarah from H2O. Now, this scene actually has a really solid chase, a really solid build up to the kill. The only reason it's not higher on the list is because they cut away. We just kind of see the stabs. I don't like the sound effect. It's kind of a silly sound effect. I would have liked it to be a little bit more lifelike instead of it sounded like he was sheathing his knife, not stabbing somebody. But anyway, it's a decent kill. They were this close to this probably being in the top 50, top 40. Instead, it's going to fall right here. It's just kind of in the middle. It's okay. Decent chase, very below average kill. Number 73 is Dave from Halloween 2018. Now, I know we don't see this kill, so it's kind of weird that this off-screen kill makes it above some of the other really vicious kills. I love the reveal of after Julian tells Dave not to go up there, he's going to get killed. We do finally see Dave's body, and he's pinned up reverse against the wall, sort of like Bob and those other ones with the knife. I think it's a really cool reveal, and it actually works really well for me. This is one of my favorite off-screen deaths in the franchise. Number 72 is going to be Donna from Hollywood Resurrection. Not a whole lot to say about this. It's a decent chase. I do love that he kind of gets her just up against the gate and just impales her. I actually really like impaling deaths. There's far better ones in the franchise than this, but this one was worth mentioning. It's a decent little chase. I actually liked Donna as a character. She was one of the only ones with somewhat of a brain, I suppose, but she meets a pretty decent death. Solid kill, solid lighting. I like the way they shoot Michael in this shot, so it's a decent kill. Number 71 is Buddy from H2. Now, this kill would probably be a little higher on my list, as with some of the other ones in this sequence, if it wasn't a dream sequence, but the fact that it is a little bit of a knock, but I do love it's a pretty decent jump scare. Myers comes out of nowhere, slams that axe in his back, kind of startled me the first time I watched it. It's a really vicious, it's a really decent, solid kill. There's not a whole lot going on, but it gets the point across. You definitely wouldn't want to be on the opposite side of that axe, that's for damn sure. Number 70 is going to be Steve from Rob Zombie's Halloween. This is the boyfriend at the beginning of the movie. We're still talking about young Myers. And this is my second favorite young Myers kill because it really just shows how brutal he is, even as a child. He freaking beats the shit out of Steve with an aluminum bat over and over and over and over again. So it just shows the kind of mean streak that this child has, and he grows into this hulking man. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. I certainly wouldn't want to live through that. Number 69 is going to be Bill from Halloween Resurrection. It's kind of ironic that he gets number 69 because this dude is just thinking about getting tail the entirety of the movie. That's pretty much his defining characteristic. But the only thing he does get is a knife in the dome from Myers. I love this kill. I actually really enjoy this kill. It's brutal, it's quick, it's fast, it's effective. Number 68 is going to be Nurse Marion. Again, this is the first time we see this character die, unfortunately. And I think this one's done a little bit better. It's from Halloween H2O, the beginning of Halloween H2O. One of my favorite sequences in any Halloween movie is the beginning of this movie. Has a couple of really awesome off-screen deaths, and then Nurse Marion puts up a pretty solid fight, but because of some silly cops who can't seem to understand some shit's going on, she doesn't quite make it out alive. She gets a solid throat slit, a Myers classic, and then she's just discarded, and she gets carjacked. Number 67 is the gas store clerk from Halloween 2018. Now, we briefly talked about this. Dana was talking to this guy as we saw the mechanic getting beat in the background. Well, we know what Myers does after he finishes with the mechanic. He goes and rips this dude's freaking jaw out, like just rips his teeth out of his... It's brutal. This is one of the gnarliest off-screen kills in the entire franchise. It's a great reveal, and it's shot concurrently with him dropping the teeth in front of Dana, so it works really well. The direction's really awesome. This kill absolutely got a reaction out of me. Woo! Number 66 is going to be Barry Sims, the asshole radio host from Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers. Now, it's famously reported that this part was written for Howard Stern. You can kind of see that kind of character in there, but he turned it down. Instead, we got this weasel-looking guy, and all he's doing is talking shit about Myers the entire time, and he doesn't realize that Myers is right behind him somehow. I don't know why Myers would be in that van, but who gives a shit? He gets a brutal kill, a bunch of stabs to the chest. I love this kill. I love this scene, and it was really awesome to see this guy get taken out pretty quickly. Number 65 is going to be Wesley, the young bully from Rob Zombie's Halloween. We all knew this was going to happen. I mean, he wrote this guy to be an absolute just... Bully is an understatement. This kid is cruel. But what happens to him He didn't deserve that. This is a brutal death. It takes a while. Myers takes his time with this guy, and it's kind of painful to watch at times as he's savagely beaten over and over with this giant log, and just kind of the sick enjoyment that Michael Myers gets from it, allures to what he will eventually become. But this one was tough to watch. I never really like seeing kids get killed, even if they are an asshole. So this one was effective. It made you feel the way they wanted you to feel. That's for damn sure. Number 64 is going to be Rudy's death in Halloween Resurrection. Now, I actually really liked this guy. He might have been my favorite character in the entire movie. And ironically enough, he puts up the best fight anybody not named Freddy against Michael in this entire movie. He tries his best to fight him off with the knives, with the pepper. He's a cook. They he talks about food the entire movie. So he uses pepper and steak knives to fight back. But Myers eventually gets the upper hand and stabs him with 3 knives, one of them straight through the door, just like Bob and Kelly. So this is another nod to that. They can't help themselves. But it was a pretty decent sequence, and I actually really enjoyed this kill. Number 63 is going to be Nurse Marion's neighbor, Jimmy, in Halloween H2O. Now, this is, again, a kill that happens off screen, but the reveal is one of the best in the franchise. He gets an ice skate through the face. And again, I wish we could have seen this happen. This would have been way higher on the list, but the reveal, the jump scare, the moment where Marion finds his body, it's perfection. I love this sequence. Did I say I love this sequence? I love this whole sequence. Number 62 is going to be Deputy Eddie from Halloween 5. You probably don't know this character, but I'm sure you remember this sequence. This is when they have Jamie kind of as bait in the Myers house, and there's a deputy inside and a deputy stationed outside. Deputy Eddie is the unfortunate soul who gets put outside the Myers house. Michael Myers shows up, breaks through the window, beats the shit out of Eddie. You're kind of hearing it and seeing it. I do like that they jump back and forth between actually showing the violence and everybody else, including Jamie, hearing it happening. So I love that kind of back and forth. I really love this kill. You don't remember the character, but you definitely remember his death. Number 61 is Dana from Halloween 2018. She's one of the investigative journalists, and I would say that her kill is fairly underwhelming except for everything that leads up to it. I already talked about him dropping the teeth in front of her. Unfortunately, that was ruined in the trailers. I would have really liked a lot of the stuff to not be shown in the trailers, but it's a really cool sequence. It kind of harkens back to Halloween H2O when him stealing the purse from the lady and the daughter in the stall. This time he actually confronts the lady in the stall. And it doesn't matter that Aaron busts in to try to help her. Dana gets hoisted up and her neck snapped. And it happens just off screen. So, I mean, it could have been better, but it doesn't always have to be a vicious, gory death. Sometimes a simple neck snap works, especially after a really awesome chase scene. I say chase scene, she only went 3 stalls away, but there was still a lot of back and forth in that sequence. So I really enjoy this setup, and I actually enjoyed the payoff. Number 60 is going to be Linda's death from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, this is one of the more famous kills from the original, so you know he was going to include it in the remake. And this time, Michael doesn't use a telephone cord. The kill is not quite as sexual, aside from, her naked breasts being bare, but she definitely sounds more like she's being choked than actually getting stooped like in the original. So this kill is a little bit creepier. It's definitely effective. It's not nearly as iconic as the original, but Rob Zombie did a really good job. This one's hard to watch. Number 59 is Nurse Daniels from Rob Zombie's H2, and not unlike Buddy, this kill would probably be a lot higher if it wasn't a part of the dream sequence. This doesn't actually happen. Laurie's dreaming it, but this is one of the first times where I remember just saying, holy shit, as you just see Myers just stab and stab and stab and stab. And again, I could do without the grunting. I don't really need him to be grunting like that, but there's just a physicality that Tyler Mane brings to this character. This kill showcases that to a T, and it definitely creeps you out. Number 58 is Vicky from Halloween 2018. She was the sweet blonde babysitter who was babysitting Julian. And was about to have sex with Paul, or at least dry hump him, according to her. So she was I liked her character. I really liked her character. I was sad to see her go so early, but she does have a decent kill, I guess. I think it's kind of silly they made her stumble and slip on her socks. I would have liked to have seen her put up a better fight before Myers got the better of her. And again, this sequence would have been scary if they didn't ruin it in the trailers by showing him in the closet. So this had potential to be even higher. I'm comfortable putting it here. It's still a solid sequence. Number 57 is going to be Doug Mulaney from Halloween Ends. Now, this is the first kill that Michael does in the movie. We're almost an hour into the movie by this point. So, was it worth it? You can see by the position it was just okay. I don't like. I don't know if I like or don't like the whole Corey helping out the killing. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. This one felt kind of weird to me. I don't know, but I definitely don't like Michael's, jizzy shake. Oh my god, like does he get off from killing? Is it like that, or was that his power coming back? I don't know. They don't explain anything. So I mean, whatever you think is true to you at least. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this sweet sequence. Again, you'll see later that I enjoy when Corey helps with the second kill, but that's because he gets a little bit more hands on rather than just holding him back. This one, meh, I could take it or leave it. All right, and at 56, 55, and 54, we are going to have a triple threat. We're going to have the Benny family, the family that Myers kills in Rob Zombie's H2 at nighttime when they find Hobo Myers traipsing through their land. They get out to confront him. And then all three of them, Sherman and Floyd, get it first, and then Jasmine is pulled out of the car and stabbed to death. All three of them get it pretty bad. I would say Jasmine probably gets it the least worse, so we'll give her 56. We'll give Sherman 55 because he gets slashed across the eyes and then stabbed. I think Floyd probably gets it the worst. We'll give him 54. He gets stabbed and then impaled on some deer antlers very violently. So, again, you could put them in any order. They all die pretty well the same way, but I would give Floyd the nod. We'll say that he got the worst ending in 54. Number 53 is going to be Vanessa from Halloween Kills. Now, after Marcus dies, you're wondering what the hell happened to Vanessa. She's just outside the car watching this all go down with a giant-ass gun. Well, it's at this point, after her husband, boyfriend, whatever, is killed, that she decides to enter the picture, but she can't shoot worth a shit, and then she gets a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that's what she ends up dying from. So it's a really funny kill, but it works for me. I actually really enjoyed this sequence. At 52, we're going to have a twofer. I could have put these guys in separate spots, but I figured since they were married, why not just put them together? The kills are also pretty quick. But we have the Strodes from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Mason Strode gets a quick slice to the face. He's done. And then the wife, Mrs. Strode, gets a quick neck snap. So neither one really stand out above the rest. This scene is really tragic because you hear Mrs. Strode pleading for her daughter's life. That is kind of tragic. But it's quick, it's efficient. It shows that this Myers doesn't always drag everything out sometimes, especially when he's motivated. He just wants to get down to the point, get what he needs, and get out. So he's not a blubbering idiot. He can be tactical. Number 51 is going to be the young boy Kevin from Halloween 2018. That's kind of ironic that the first person that we see Michael kill in front of us after all these years is a young boy. I've said it many times. I think the Children in Peril just strikes a different chord with most people. So watching him actually kill a young boy, it's going to register on a different level. But as far as he's concerned, it's a pretty tame kill. It's a slow neck snap. He doesn't draw it out. So I got to give him points there. He gets it done. But it does show that this Myers is not above killing children. So it puts you on alert for the rest of the trilogy. Number 50 is going to be Karen Strode at the very end of Halloween Kills. This kill is impactful. She is a major character, and it definitely shocked a lot of people when it happened. My only issue with it, and maybe you don't share this issue, is the way they shot it. I don't like the quick cuts. I know they're trying to pay homage to Psycho, I suppose, but I just didn't really like it. I wish they would have just made it a more straightforward kill. Much like I wish they would have made the mob scene a little bit more straightforward. I think they tried to get a little bit too fancy with some of the shots, and it just didn't work for me. But still, you can't overstate how impactful this is to that movie and the next. So it's a big kill. Karen Strode, Judy Greer, great actress, and definitely a solid kill. At number 49, we have the final kill that we're going to see from Halloween Ends. Michael only kills 3 people in this movie. So, but the best one for me is Deb when he and Corey team up to kill Deb and the doctor. Again, I didn't put the doctor on the list because that's Corey, but that is one thing that I did like about this kill as opposed to the Mulaney kill, is that Corey gets his hands dirty, and that reveal of him stabbing the doctor is one of the highlights of the movie for me. And then I love the part where he actually puts his hand up on the glass and then Myers opens up the closet door. It just shows their connection. It kind of rams that home that they do have some sort of connection, whether you like that or you don't. At least they're staying true to it. And then he does the whole Bob, Kelly, Rudy kill where he stabs her up against the wall and does the head tilt. They can't help it. At this point, they couldn't help themselves. They had to do it. So it's an okay sequence. It's not going to be, top 20, top 30 for me, but it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid kill. Certainly one of the best Myers kill. Actually, it's the best Myers kill in this movie for me. Number 48 is going to be Bob from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, this is another classic kill from the original that's redone. I did like that they kind of did the switch and they showed Bob in the costume. You think it could be Myers, and then Myers jumps out of nowhere and jumps him, and we get a pretty classic repeat of the Bob kill. So I can't give it a lot of love. I mean, it's pretty much the same exact kill. It's more violent. He chokes him a bit longer. I just don't think that has as much of the atmosphere that the original kill did that makes it so beloved. So it's a pretty solid kill, top 50, but that's really all the love I can give for it. Number 47 and 46 are going to be Big Lou and Misty Dawn from Halloween H2, Rob Zombie's H2. And I'm going to link them together because they both get bashed against the wall. Big Lou gets his arm broke, which is pretty nasty, but Misty Dawn also gets a bunch of extra smashes into a mirror. So I don't know which one I would say is worse. Probably Misty. So we'll give Big Lou the first spot. We'll give Misty the top spot. So she gets to be 46. Big Lou will be 47. But those two definitely together because they're very similar. But I like this sequence. I think it's a pretty decent sequence. It follows one of my favorite kills in the entire movie. So this is a great, 2, 3, 4 minutes of actual scares by Rob Zombie. Well done. Well done. Number 45 is Dr. Sartain from Halloween 2018. And this is the new Loomis. This is a guy that you either love or you hate. Most people hate. And what is his purpose in this movie other than to just get Michael and Laurie together? I mean, I guess they couldn't think of a better way to do it. So Sartain is the answer. He's what's going to bring these two forces together. But he doesn't even get to see it happen. He gets a head smash. I'm a fan of the head smash, okay? So I will give it a little bit of love. It's top 50 because he was a detestable character that nobody really liked. And he got a head smash, a violent head smash that we got to see. So I do really love this kill. Number 45, Dr. Sartain. Number 44 is Brady from Halloween 4, and I actually really love that what kind of could have been a blunder actually gives this kill a lot of character. It's the blood capsule that I've heard him talk about this. It busts in his mouth fills up with blood, so he just hawks a huge loogie and spits it out, and it's kind of defiant, in his last moment. I do really love this kill. I liked Brady as a character, and I'm a fan of the slow, head smash and then a neck snap. So it's a good kill. Good sequence. I can't believe he couldn't get that damn shotgun loaded and all the time it took Myers to get up the steps, but at least he tried to put up a fight. Number 43 is going to be Bud from the original Halloween 2 back in 1981. He is, again, another guy who's just trying to get laid through this entire movie, and that ultimately ends to his downfall as he gets himself separated from his nurse friend. He's in a back room trying to handle the temperature of the water that Michael turned up, and we see him through a glass panel, slightly, off screen, get strangled by something. We don't know what, but I really liked this scene. I remember as a kid, it deeply disturbed me, that he could get taken out that close to his friend. So you want to think that if you're in a group, you're safe. You're definitely not safe around Myers. Number 42 is going to be Deputy Charlie from Halloween 5. We talked about Eddie being the unfortunate victim that was stationed outside the Myers house and got beaten up. Well, Charlie is on guard duty. Charlie is alone on guard duty, and Myers gets in the house. He finally busts in the room, and even though Charlie's able to get a couple shots on Myers, Myers relents. He keeps coming through the doorway, beats up on Charlie a little bit, then actually hangs him and throws him out a window. So it's not something you see Myers do very often, but it was really effective, really scary, and I actually really enjoyed this kill, this sequence. Felt bad for Charlie. He seemed like a good guy. Number 41 is going to be the hospital security guard from Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, not Rob Zombie's. This is the second kill of the movie when Myers finally makes it to the hospital. And this is the security guard that's poking around. There's a lot of jump scares, a lot of fake outs, and that's okay. It doesn't bother me, but I really could do without, the 7 or 8 fake outs. But finally, He shuts one of the doors, and there's Myers with a hammer. Instead of bashing him over the head, he takes the claw and sticks it into his head. So it's a good kill. It finally mercifully puts an end to this way too long sequence, and it ends with a pretty solid kill in my opinion. Number 40 is going to be Beth from The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, say what you want about this film, might not be your cup of tea. It's certainly a sloppy mess at times, but it has some of the best kills of the franchise, and this is one of them. I love Beth's kill. I love that it happens right in front of Kara as she's talking to her. You know, she tries to warn her, and then Michael just comes and just stabs her viciously in the back. Up until this point, this movie, we hadn't really seen this side of Michael, this unrelenting, vicious force. You know, before that, he was more the shape, but this movie introduced us to a new, vicious version of Michael, and Beth's kill is one of the best. Number 39 is going to be the random townspeople that die at the end of kills, and this is not including Sheriff Brackett or Tommy Doyle. This is the 9 or 10 random townspeople that get killed in the choppy, flashy scene I've talked about a few times. Really not a fan of this sequence outside of just it displays, again, a lot of really cool, interesting ways that he's killing these people. He's stabbing, he's slicing and dicing, and at this point, he was left for dead. He was almost dead, so it's impressive he still has this kind of fight left in him to take out all these people. I would imagine in fairly quick succession. Again, I would have really liked to have seen this sequence shot in real time. It would have jumped up the list, but it's still pretty decent. I'm not going to let that minor gripe knock it all the way out of like the top 40, top 50. It's still one of the better sequences in the Halloween franchise, so I'm going to put it comfortably right here. Number 38 is Nurse Mary from Curse, and I've told you before, I really like impaled killings. I like to see that kind of happen. I think it's a really cool death. And Nurse Mary is the first person that Michael kills at the beginning of Halloween 6, and she gets her head impaled through a giant spike that's protruding off the wall. Don't really know why it's there, aside from somebody to be killed upon it, but still, it's a great kill. It's a great way to open up this movie, and I love him taking a step back and doing his normal head tilt. This is before it had become like way overdone. It was still being overdone at that point, but they didn't have to throw it in every single movie back then. So I enjoyed this sequence. Poor Nurse Mary. She was just trying to get Jamie and her baby out of there. Number 37 is Spitz from Halloween 5. Now, we already talked about Samantha's death. I think that Spitz's death is a little bit better than hers. That's why it's ranked quite a bit above her. I like that Michael just comes from behind and just impales him with, the fork. I think it's a really cool, effective kill. I don't want to say unexpected. We knew that it was happening. We just didn't know when. So some people might have been caught off guard, but I thought it was really well done. And then it leads to a decent little chase with Samantha. So Spitz death, number 37. I'm a fan. I like it. Number 36 is going to be the 4 random security cards in Rob Zombie's Halloween that are leading Michael out. And before he breaks out and proceeds to dismantle them in quick succession. This is, again, what I wanted to see from the townspeople kill. I don't want to see it all chopped up and broken. I want to see Michael do his thing. And Rob Zombie was great at that, letting Tyler Mane be brutal. And he does a couple different ways of killing people. He beats them, he head bashes them, he rips their throat out. So he has a couple different really cool kills. I do really like this sequence. Rob Zombie knows how to shoot a movie. Number 35 is the random truck owner in Curse. This is after Jamie breaks out of the underground dungeon thing and Michael's chasing her. And she jumps into a guy's truck and he's walking, screaming, "What the hell are you doing in my truck?" And she's trying to back him up, telling him that Michael's coming, but he doesn't understand. I mean, why would you? You can't imagine that there's a random psychopath around the corner. But when he finally steps out, Michael just grabs him and it's a quick snap, but it's really awesome. I love this kill. It reminds me, this is one of the first kills that I think of when I see this movie, or when I think of this movie, is this poor guy just trying to, I don't know if he was working or what he was doing, but wrong place, wrong time. How about a little neck snappy? Number 34 is Jim from Halloween Resurrection. Now, again, this is another guy that I didn't hate. I actually kind of liked the character. He had a couple of wisecracks, a couple of comments that made me laugh. I am glad that he didn't get the privilege of absolutely bitching out Michael Myers like it seemed like every other person got to. But he gets caught in a bad situation, and Michael just smashes his head. I kind of like Brady, but then Brady gets a neck snap. Jim just gets his head snapped. You hear it snap, and then he just drops him, and he's dead. So it's a really cool, quick, awesome kill. Michael Myers, superhuman strength. Sorry, Jim. Number 33 is Coroner Gary from H2. Now, this one, whew, it might be top 15, top 20 if it actually happened, but this is another one that is going to be penalized because it didn't actually happen. It was a dream that Lori was having. But this is one of the nastiest, gnarliest kills of any of the movies. I mean, Rob Zombie's Michael Myers is vicious. We've talked about this, but in this movie, he picks up a shard of glass and then it's not enough to just slit the guy's throat. He saws his head off. And I mean, Zombie does not cut away. This is all pretty well done on screen. So it's a brutal, gory, vicious death. It's everything that we're coming to bat for when we go to these movies. So perfect. It's a perfect sequence. It definitely gets you feeling a little icky. I just wish it was real. Number 32 is going to be Phil from Halloween Kills. Now, I felt really bad for Phil and Sandra. They were two very endearing characters. We definitely grew to like them very quickly. They didn't have a lot of time on screen before the mayhem starts, but you could tell that they really cared for one another. He's calling for her the entire time he's being killed. You know, he gets pulled through the broken glass, which probably that might have been enough, but then the next time we see him, he's being stabbed in the back with multiple knives as Michael is trying to find that perfect one, and Sandra's just lying there watching it all happen. We assume that she died too. Come to find out, she lived, so I'm only going to throw Phil on the list. But the poor guy didn't deserve that. He seemed like a good husband, a good man, but this was a great kill. Number 31 is going to be Nurse Janet from the original Halloween 2 back in 81, and she's the nurse that finds Dr. Mixter and has that little reveal of, oh my God, he got stabbed in the eye. She backs up, and then you get kind of a recreation of the mask scene in the first one where Michael's mask is shrouded in darkness and then slowly comes into view. It's really well done, and then she gets stabbed in the temple with a needle and injected with air, so I'm assuming he gave her an aneurysm or something like that. But again, a really brutal way to die without being overly gory. These movies at that point were not overly gory or ridiculous. They were still pretty understated, but this one still gives you the heebie-jeebies. You definitely wouldn't want to be on the opposite end of that. But very well done kill. Very well done. Definitely deserving of, you know, being in the top third of this list. Number 30 is going to be Bucky, the mechanical tech, whatever you want to call him, the electrical tech from Halloween 4, who gets thrown into a transformer and electrocuted. This scene, again, is just super memorable for me. It's not overly ridiculous, but I do love that Michael Myers just kind of standing there watching him, and then Bucky just turns around after giving him a warning to bugger off, and Michael just heaves him into the transformer. So, and it also shows that Michael Myers is kind of smart. This was planned by him. He didn't just do this randomly. He walked all the way out here to cut the power to the town. So Michael is more than just a lumbering idiot. He is smart. He is calculated at times, and this is just a really good example of that. And it's a pretty solid kill in my opinion. Number 29 is my favorite kill from H2, and it's Howard. Howard works for Big Lou, and he goes out back to take the trash out and meets his end pretty quickly. He runs into Michael Myers and again just starts talking shit for no reason. You don't have to know that this guy's a vicious killer to know that you should not talk to shit to a man that's Tyler Mane's size. Why would you do that? And he gets absolutely obliterated with a head stomp that's even better than Sartain's. This is one of my favorite moments of the Rob Zombie movies. It's absolutely my favorite moment from this movie, and it's a beautiful kill. Beautifully done. Great sequence. Tyler Mane, you are vicious. Number 28 is going to be my favorite off-screen death reveal, and it comes from Halloween 2018. It's Officer Reed and Officer Francis, the two funny cops who are sitting out talking about lunch and whatnot, and then they have an altercation with Myers off screen, and then Ray actually finds their body shortly before he's strangled to death, and one of them has been turned into a jack-o'-lantern and the other one's just been brutally assaulted. You can tell that whatever happened to them, it was not pretty, but this is easily my favorite reveal of a dead body in the entire franchise. It's one of the best kills of this movie, even though we didn't see it. I have to give it its love. I think this was one hell of a just as a design choice by Christopher Nelson, his team. Ironically enough, Christopher Nelson was in this sequence as one of the cops. I don't know which one he was, but I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know which one his name was. I don't know if he's Francis or Reed, but I think it's hilarious that two guys that weren't actors, the other guy was the advisor for the police officers in this movie. So two guys that aren't actors created one of the more memorable scenes, and then they have one of the best death reveals in the history of the franchise. Number 27 is Linda's death from the original in 78. Now, Linda, we talked about The other strangulation death, I thought it was well done, but this one is the iconic original. I do love that she's strangled with a telephone cord while she's talking to Lori. Uh, I think it's kind of funny that it sounds like she's having sex and Lori's kind of like, "What's going on over there? You know, Linda, are you okay?" And she does, I think, at the end start to realize that something is going on, something's wrong. But it's an iconic kill. The fact that Michael's standing there under the sheet pretending to be Bob is hilarious. It's memorable. I think they could have went a little bit further with it. I was expecting a little bit more. I think when I first watched this movie, but it's still an iconic kill, and it deserves, at the very least, a top 30 position in the franchise. Still not bad. Number 26 is going to be firefighter Benton from Halloween Kills. This is the first person that Myers kills in the movie after he reveals how he survived the fire. Benton is the firefighter who falls through the floor. He's calling for help. And then Michael steps out with a Halligan bar and just beats the living shit out of him and actually stabs him through the face with it. So it's a quick, efficient, brutal death. And then it sets up, one of the best sequences in the entire movie. But this kill, certainly memorable. Numbers 25 and 24 are going to be connected because they're part of that amazing one shot in Halloween 2018. It's Andrea and Mrs. Pancella. They're the two people that Michael kills, again, in that long sequence. I'll put Andrea first because she just gets stabbed through the neck, and it doesn't look great. It looks okay, but this is what they had to do. The CGI blade, they had to do that to ensure that everybody was in the right place to finish the one shot. But Mrs. Pancella's off-screen beating, actually super effective because you hear her squeal. You see, obviously, Michael pick up the hammer, follow her into the house. She sees him, she squeals, and then you hear him smash her in the head, 5 or 6 times. And then when the camera finally follows around, you see her dead body there. So it's, again, a really brutal, amazing kill in one of the best, most inventive shots in a horror movie that I've ever seen. I love one-shots, especially when they're done with meaning. This one actually absolutely had meaning behind it. It wasn't just done to be done. And I think that it all worked out. And again, Andrea's kill was pretty cool too. I love watching Michael walk around the back of the house and then come in behind her and then just bam, stab. It was a really good sequence. One of my favorites, certainly top 25 worthy. Number 23 is going to be Annie Brackett in the original Halloween from 78. Now, this is the first person that we see adult Myers kill on screen. He had already killed the mechanic at this point, but this is the first person, it's the first time he strikes, and we wait a long time for this. And this kill, I think, really does a good job of showing you where the franchise started versus, where we are now with the brutality. I mean, there's no blood. There's no blood in this kill. He pops out from behind the car seat, slits her throat, and she dies very slowly. But there's no blood. It's all atmosphere. It's all music, opposed to, the way the kills are done now that are very in your face. And there's more than one way to freak somebody out. Some people, myself, I like the violence, but I also appreciate and respect subtlety and being able to creep me out with music and lighting and timing. And John Carpenter was one of the best, if not the best, at doing that. So this is a perfect scene to highlight that skill. And it's one of my favorite deaths in the entire franchise. That's why it's here in the top 25. Number 22 is Aaron from Halloween 2018. He's the other investigative journalist with Dana. They're the reason that Michael ends up getting his mask back, so we understand why they're in the movie. But Dana has a really sad death scene. Aaron has a really sad and violent death scene. He busts in the bathroom trying to rescue Dana and just gets absolutely obliterated by Myers with head smash after head smash into the doors, into the walls. They don't show him, quote unquote, die, but he does close his eyes. He's bleeding really profusely from the head, so it's easy to say he died. They don't ever talk about him ever again. So he's dead. Very brutal death, especially when you're trying to save a loved one like that. Damn, Myers, he had zero chill in this movie. Number 21 is going to be Nurse Karen from the original Halloween 2, and she's the one that was about to sleep with Bud. They were in the hot tub, and then Michael turns on the heat, so she makes Bud get out. We see Bud get strangled in the back room, and then Michael steps out, and I don't know if he's pretending to be Bud, but he just kind of lets her think that maybe that's who he is. And then when she turns around and realizes that it's not, she puts his fingers in her mouth, by the way, disgusting. But anyway, she turns around and realizes it's not Bud, it's Michael Myers. And then he proceeds to drown her and burn her in this scalding hot water. So it's a great effect. You see every time he brings her up, her face is a little more, burned and starting to peel away. It's very violent. Of all the ways that he kills people in these movies, this could possibly be the worst way. This was really brutal, really violent, and it definitely, again, it got the reaction out of you that they were going for. This was intense, and it's starting to show that Michael, it may be a little bit more than a man, because not only is he getting shot and stuff, but he's just not affected by anything, even scalding hot water. Kicking off our top 20 is going to be Jamie Lloyd in Curse of Michael Myers. Now, this one doesn't offend me in the same way that like killing off Rachel did or killing off Loomis does, because we had gotten 2 movies with Jamie as the young girl, the young target. Now she's grown up. She has a kid of her own. He is becoming the new target. And it just kind of made sense story-wise. As much as I hated to see her go, if that's the direction you're going, is you're bringing this baby into it, you know, it does raise the stakes for him to kill off Jamie and kind of remove that maternal figure. And now, who's going to take care of this baby? Who's going to protect this baby? It ends up being Tommy Doyle and Kara. But Jamie's death is tragic. It is sad, but that's what it's supposed to be. This is a character that we had grown to love over 2 movies, and to watch her be dispatched in such a violent way. I mean, she almost got away, and then Myers catches up to her after a really long chase and throws her on a corn thresher and then turns it on after she taunts him. So you can tell that, you know, she, even in death, she was being super defiant of her uncle, was not afraid, which is also a reason why I think I do like her death, is it was clear she was no longer afraid. She knew that she had saved her baby's life, and that was good enough for her. Number 19 is going to be Judith Myers from the original Halloween. Now, this kill is iconic. That's why it's in the top 20. This is Michael's first kill as a young boy. He sneaks into his sister's room after she has sex with her boyfriend and stabs her multiple times in the back and the chest, and he just absolutely ravages this poor girl. And I like that it's done via POV. This was really creepy to put us in, you know, the first person view, the POV shot of the killer. And we had no idea, if you're watching it for the first time, that this is a young boy. So when that finally happens, when his parents show up and rip the mask off and you see that this is a young boy, it shocks you. It absolutely blows your mind that somebody that young could be capable of such violence. But it's a great kill. It's an iconic kill. Makes you feel really bad for that family, and it sets the stage for one of the greatest horror characters of all time. Number 18 is going to be the male ambulance attendant in part 4. At the beginning of the movie, this is the guy that got the thumb through the forehead. Now, I heard that this kill, as well as one later in the movie, later on in the list, spoiler alert, were added because test audiences wanted more blood, wanted more gore. So that just shows you that audiences were craving a little bit more action, and they had grown tired of Michael's shtick of not really being super violent, more being kind of stealthy. So this was the first turn in the franchise where we start to see this brutality ramped up, so to speak. And this was a hell of a way to start. I mean, he jams his thumb through the dude's forehead and bashes him a couple times for good measure. So it's a great kill. It's one of my favorite kills of this entire movie. And as you can see, one of my favorite kills of the franchise. Number 17 is going to be Dr. Wynn and the 5 or so cult doctors that you see in Curse of Michael Myers. I like to call this the Machete Massacre, because this is what I remember as a kid, was watching Myers pick up the machete before he walked into the room, and then the strobe light kicks on and he's just in there just ravaging all these people. So it's hard to pick out exactly how many people. I think there was Dr. Wynn and like 4 or 5 other doctors, so that's what we'll say. And again, you can't really pick out who's getting what, but they're all getting absolutely obliterated with this machete. You usually see Michael use a large butcher knife, but in this one, he picks up Jason's weapon and goes to town. So it's memorable for that. It was one of the scenes that, again, really ramped up the violence. This, along with part 4, part 5, and then part 6, were really just amping up the violence that we saw from Michael Myers, and this was a highlight of that. One of the best scenes of the movie. One of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise, for sure. And number 16 happened immediately after the Machete Massacre. This is the cult doctor, played by George P. Wilbur, who played Myers in this movie and in part 4 in some parts. He's playing the cult doctor in this point. He gets chased down the hallway where Tommy and Nora are running as well, and he gets caught and pushed through the door with his face. Again, you want to talk about freakish, superhuman strength. This one highlights it, and I did a little bit of a nod because you do have an actual Myers actor getting killed. So bonus points there. This is a great kill. Number 15 is Will in Halloween H2O. Now, this is Laurie Strode's boyfriend in the movie. And I actually really liked his character. I thought he was really trying to help. He really was being sincere in wanting to help Lori get over whatever this issues were that she had. And he meets a pretty sad ending after they mistakenly shoot Ronnie and they think he's dead. They're down there trying to help him out, and then Michael comes in and stabs Will right in the back, similar to Nurse Jill in part two, and lifts him up with one arm. It shows again that freakish strength that Myers has, and this is an excellent acting job because the twitching that he adds to it really sells it. It's really brutal. And again, the fact that Laurie's just there watching it happen, this is one of the final straws before she's ready to just have it out with Michael. It's a great kill, great moment. Number 14 is truck driver Earl. Now, remember when I talked about the attendant and the thumb through the head and how audiences wanted more gore? This was another kill that was apparently added at the end of Halloween 4 to ramp up the gore factor. This is the truck driver of the truck where we got Jamie and we got Rachel in the front seat. We got the 3 randos in the back that have already been dispatched. We already talked about those kills. But now Michael reaches through the driver's side window and literally like simultaneously rips his neck out and breaks his neck, I suppose. It's super gory, super vicious. This was ridiculous, and I'll tell you, I did not see it coming. I thought that Michael was going to like punch through the back and then maybe they would just wreck because of the commotion. I did not think that he was literally going to rip this dude's freaking neck off. Like, he almost ripped his head off with his bare hands. It's creepy. It's crazy. Number 13 is going to be Big Joe Grizzly Bitch, played by the amazing Ken Faree. This is one of my favorite kills of this movie. Obviously, this is Rob Zombie's Halloween. This is, instead of killing a mechanic, he kills a truck driver. Thankfully, the mechanics get a reprieve in this movie. But Big Joe Grizzly happens to be one of the only son of a bitches around who's about the same size as this gargantuan Myers. So he gets a nice deuce interrupted and then gets proceeded to be bashed around and stabbed a few times. It's vicious, it's brutal, and seeing Myers go up against somebody that's as large as him and just still physically dominate him, it just sets the stage for what we're in for. We know that this is going to be one of the most physically dominant Myers as we've ever seen. Number 12 is going to be Marcus from Halloween Kills. This was another one of my favorite characters. I thought that he was funny. He kept forgetting his stethoscope. That was a running joke through the first 2 movies. And ironically enough, he tries to use said stethoscope to strangle Myers after he stabs Marion. And Myers, what makes this kill a highlight for me is how Myers just slowly turns and almost looks shocked at the gall of this man to assault him like that, and he just stabs him through the eye. Again, it's a great kill. It's not overly graphic, and you can tell that they shot it in reverse, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a brilliant way to pull this off without getting too crazy. So again, I really love this kill. I liked the character, and it got a chuckle out of me. So anytime you can make me laugh and also make me say holy shit after the kill, that's a win. Win, win, win. Number 11 is going to be Kelly Meeker from Halloween 4. Now, after she discovers Deputy Logan's body tucked away in the corner, she looks over and realizes that the person she thought was Deputy Logan is actually Myers. He stands up with a shotgun. You're thinking, there's no way he shoots her, right? And of course he doesn't. He just takes it and impales her up against the wall in a really creative shot that put her in a harness that apparently was not very comfortable to wear and slam her up against the door with a great deal of force. So it's a pretty abrupt, pretty nasty, violent kill. And again, it makes me kind of laugh a little bit because of the absurdity of it all. The fact that he's just impaling somebody with a double barrel shotgun. But it was creative, it was different, and it's absolutely memorable. One of my favorites. Kicking off the top 10 is Cameron's death in Halloween Kills. This was absolutely brutal. This is after he discovered his father's dead body. Michael busts out of the closet. They have a fight back and forth. I mean, he gets absolutely beat to shit and back. Allison tries to step in and help, but she gets thrown down the steps. And then Cameron just gets brutalized between the balusters and the pickets and posts of the stairs. And finally, when it looks like his neck is literally just hanging on by a thread, Michael almost taunts Allison before he just reaches up and snaps his neck and puts him out of his misery. So this was brutal. This was heartless, and this was one of the only instances where I can think of Michael like taunting somebody else. So it shows that he is cruel on multiple levels. Number 9 is going to be cameraman Charlie's death in Halloween Resurrection. I wanted to show some love to this film. I don't really enjoy this film, but this is a memorable kill for me. Both because of the timing of it. It's in the middle of the day, and you don't see Myers do a whole lot the daytime. So that's nice to see him still out and about. But it's also cool to see the POV of Charlie's view, of Myers coming at him, but also they switch back and forth between that and the camera POV of the actual camera he was using. So that's a fun little juxtaposition back and forth. And then it's decent effects. I mean, the throat shot, they don't pull away. They show the pole go right through his throat. It's a decent effect. Looks good. And then the kill's over pretty quickly, and we're back to the movie. So I do appreciate some kills that can just come out of nowhere, catch you off guard, and then we can move on and keep advancing the plot. This is one of them. Number 8 is Ishmael's death in Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Danny Trejo's character. Now, if you want to talk about a kill that breaks my heart every time I see it, it's this one, because the fact that he keeps saying, like, I was good to you, Mikey, I was good to you. And he was one of the only guys that actually treated Michael with respect, whether it was earned or not. You've been there at Smith's Grove since Michael was a boy. Now he's this hulking man, and everybody's afraid of him and treats him like shit. But Ishmael was actually kind to him. So there was a moment where I thought maybe he would let him live, but no. I mean, we got to really show that this is a cruel, heartless son of a gun, and Myers is that, and he drowns him slowly. And then when he realizes that that's taking too long, this is not a patient serial killer by any means. He throws him down, grabs a TV, and gives him the old stew treatment, just bashes it on his face. So really sad sequence. I always feel terrible for Ishmael, especially because he was about to retire and be out of there anyway. So really sucks. Danny Trejo did a great job, great acting job here. Breaks my heart every time. Number 7 is Oscar's death in Halloween 2018. Now, this is the nightlight, strobe light, whatever you want to call it, the fog light scene out back of Mr. Elrod's after he makes a move on Allison. Allison blows him off, climbs over the fence, and then he sees Michael standing over, thinks it's Mr. Elrod, and begins to have a funny little, I don't want to call it a back and forth because Michael just stands there, but he says a couple of really funny lines. And then, this fog light goes off, comes back on. Michael's even closer. You hear him breathing. It goes off. And then when it comes on, Michael attacks. And then he ends up getting stabbed in the back and then impaled through the jaw by the wrought iron fence. Absolutely brutal. And then afterwards, the musical score, The Shape Chases Allison's one of my favorite musical scores from the new trilogy. This whole sequence was perfection, and it's one of my favorite scenes from the entire David Gordon Green trilogy. Number 6 is Bob's death in the original. This is one of my favorite kills from the original Halloween, one of my favorite kills in the entire franchise because of, the ambiance, the way that they shoot this, the way that they film this, the music, the timing, everything is perfection. You're waiting for something to happen. It's almost painful as you wait for something to happen, and then he finally jumps out of the closet. He gets Bob, and he pins him up against the wall, and it's almost inhuman the way that he just kind of stands there and looks at his handiwork. He's not disturbed by it by any means. He's almost, I don't want to say turned on because then we're getting into Halloween Ends territory, but he's definitely into it. He's starting to feel like, wow, okay, I like this. I like killing. This is what I want to do. And he proceeds to go on a rampage. So this is one of the best kills from the early franchise. It's the kill that I think of when I think of Halloween is Bob's death in the original. Number 5 is Nurse Jill in Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2. Poor Nurse Jill, she was gone. She was out of the hospital, but because all the tires were slashed, she had to run back in. She sees Lori, calls out to her, and as Lori slowly turns around to see Nurse Jill, Michael steps out from behind Nurse Jill, stabs her with his scalpel, and then lifts her up with one arm. Again, it's a freakish display of strength. I love that this scene, she doesn't twerk like Will does, but she's held in place and then her shoes fall off. I think that her shoes falling off. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. It is kind of funny, but it's also kind of tragic because then Michael just drops her like an item. She's no longer a person. She's just an item to him. So he just drops her and then proceeds to kick off one of the better chases in this franchise. But I always remember this kill. It always broke my heart every time. I really liked Nurse Jill, and she almost got away. Number 4 is the asshole Mike in Halloween 5. And I told you I like when Myers comes out in the daytime. This is another daytime kill. You would think that everybody's safe. They're not. Mike is at the store trying to pick up some beer and whatnot. And again, it just happens really quick. You see Myers coming out from behind. Mike is sitting there kind of like checking, making sure he still looks good. And Myers takes this garden fork and runs it across his car. So Mike gets out, thinks he's going to start talking shit to Myers, and he puts a stop to that real quick. And this is actually a really awesome, quick kill. I mean, the fork to the face, they don't cut away, and then the way he just drags his lifeless body away after it's done. This is top-notch Halloween. And this guy was an absolute prick, so nobody misses him. The bronze medal of badass goes to Big John in Halloween Kills. Now, I loved Big John and Little John. I thought they were hilarious characters. I really liked their dynamic, their back and forth. And when they finally go and try to find Michael, Big John absolutely gets well, we don't know. We don't see what happens to Little John. But I'm going to assume that Big John got the worst of it. He gets stabbed in the armpit, which I have never seen before. And that alone is painful enough to think about a knife that long going up in your armpit. But then he gets his eyes gouged out so slowly. It's like the slowest eye gouging scene I've ever seen. It's super painful to watch, and I feel really bad for both of these guys. Little John because he has to see it, and Big John because he has to go through it. This is Myers turned up to fucking 15. Holy shit. And number 2, sort of a cheat because there's like 7 or 8 guys here, but it's the firefighter massacre in Halloween Kills. This would have been so cool if they didn't spoil it in the trailers. I'll never forgive Blumhouse for giving away all the best bits in the trailers, but they do. They always do. Stop watching their trailers. This sequence was so badass. I mean, when Myers steps out of that fire, that alone was worth the price of admission. But then watching the firefighters like immediately know that this guy is up to no good and start prepping their weapons. Oh man, it was like a freaking old Western showdown. And then he just goes to systematically put all these dudes down in different ways. He uses the bar to kill a bunch of them. He also uses the circular saw to kill one of them. That would probably be the top kill of the sequence in my opinion. But this whole thing, this whole sequence, it's about 40 seconds or so, is perfection. This is probably my favorite single scene of any Halloween movie that's ever been out. But number 1 is John Strode in Curse. This guy was the biggest asshole that they've ever put on camera in any of these movies. I was just counting the minutes until this guy got his, and he gets his bad. After coming home and seeing everybody gone, obviously his wife is dead, and his stepdaughter, adopted daughter, whatever the hell she is over at Tommy's house. He comes home to the home vacant, lights are off, and he just starts taunting like, oh my god, I hope it's not the boogeyman. And we're just like, oh please, oh please, oh please, let this be the moment. And when Michael reveals himself, stabs him in the stomach, and then throws him back on an electrical transformer, that was good enough. But then the mother freaker's head explodes, and that was like the cherry on top. I wanted this guy to have all the bad things in the world happen to him, and this was as satisfying as it comes. This is my favorite kill in the franchise. This is one of the best sequences, top 2 or 3 sequences in the entire franchise. And again, it easily tops my list. Favorite kill, the entire franchise, John Strode, head explosion, perfection. So y'all, that's my list. Thank you all so much for watching. I know we don't agree on it all, but that's not the point. You're not supposed to agree with me on everything, but comment and let me know your top 5, top 10, top 15. If you want to go further and do all of them, by all means. This took me a long time, so I would not advise it. It's probably why I've never seen a video like this on YouTube before, but I had a blast doing this. I had a blast going through and looking at all the kills in the franchise and trying to rank them. It was incredibly difficult, but I had fun. So if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like, please comment. If you're new here, think about subscribing. It costs you absolutely nothing to do. Helps me out a lot, gets me one step closer to maybe getting paid for some of this work that I've been doing. That would be amazing. But anyway, that's not why I do it. I do it because I love talking about horror movies and I love engaging with you all. So thank you all very much. Anybody that takes the time to watch this, enjoy Halloween. Happy Halloween 2024. Be safe out there. Be good people. Be good to each other. We'll catch you next time.